Hey everyone! So one of the things I thought that I might do more often on my channel is just do really quick reviews of books that I gave 5 stars to that I am freaking obsessed with. And right now I'm in the middle of making dinner. I just heard that my rice is done, so I'm gonna make this super quick. But I just finished The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue, and it was so good. Like, I read Room and I loved it. So I'm not sure what made me like wait to read another book by hers, but anyway, I just finally got to this book. I've heard about it a lot on booktube. I believe that Angie from Science Mama said it was one of her best books of the year, and she did an amazing video where she compared two books that were written about the flu pandemic in like 1917 or so, and just talked about the scientific accuracy or not in the books. So I'll link some of her videos below, and anyone else who I thought did a really good review of this book, because I've heard about it on booktube for quite some time. But the thing that finally got me like over the hump to actually read it is I'm doing this thing where for Mother's Day, I made my mom tell me 3 books that she thinks I should read. And this was one that she just recently got to. She fell in love with it. And so it's one that she added to my list of books that I'm going to read, the books that my mom made me read, essentially. So anyway, if you haven't heard about this book, it is about the flu that happened like 100 years ago, essentially. And basically, it's about this nurse named Julia who's working in like a maternity ward, but it's actually only for the pregnant women who also have the flu. So they need to be separated, obviously, so that they don't infect anyone else. And it is just her experience in a bit of time there. I mean, things are just crazy, similar to our situation with the pandemic where they're short staffed. And so she kind of has to run this by herself. It's basically like her during the day and then this other nurse at night. And they don't really have like the other staff that they need. Like, there's another nurse who is off doing something else, and so that's why she's kind of put in charge of this ward. And then there are doctors around, but not very often. It's really hard to get a doctor to come. And so one day this helper comes in named Bridie, and she is just basically like this poor girl. You kind of feel like she's like off the streets or something. You can tell right from the start that she has a really interesting backstory, but obviously you don't find that out until later. So that's kind of fun to like predict along the way about what you think her backstory is. And basically, Bridie and Julia run this maternity ward, and I listened to it on audiobook, so I will tell you, maybe not the best thing to listen to or read while you're eating your lunch. There was screaming, there were fluids. I was just trying to eat a sandwich. It was crazy. But what I really liked about this book is it was historical fiction, obviously. It was about a pandemic, so it was relatable. The author actually had just turned in like the manuscript of the book or something when the pandemic hit, and so they quickly like got it through the publishing process in 4 months from what I've heard, and that's much quicker than would normally happen. The other thing I like is there's one character, a doctor, who is a woman and just such a badass. And at the very end of the book, you find out that she was actually a real woman that lived during this time. And so I definitely want to read some biographies and find out more information about her. But the other thing that I really liked is that this is not just like, you're not just plodding along in this maternity ward, but there is like a twist, I would say. And it definitely crossed my mind what the twist was, but I didn't think it would actually happen. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh dang. So yeah, if you are interested in pandemic books or just good historical fiction, you should definitely check this out. And I will be checking out all of her other books, because I don't know, when I read one book by an author, why I don't like go out and find some more. It usually takes me 2 books to be like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this author. So anyway, I'm curious what other books you have read by Emma Donoghue and which ones you would recommend me reading next. I have read Room and now I've read this one. So yeah, I hope that if you are interested in reading this book as well, you will give it a chance, and I will talk to you later. Bye.